Good day and welcome to Impact News. Folks, we're going to start with some information on Black generational wealth because it's playing out there in Georgia, where a majority Black rural community in Georgia is trying to stop a railroad company, from seizing private land. That's right, for a new train line. Residents say it's going to cause both environmental and economic harms. We've heard that, we've seen that story play out before. It's all playing out in rural Sparta, Georgia. That's a poor community of about 1,300 people, and it's located 100 miles southeast of Atlanta. Sparta is in Hancock County, and you should know that Hancock County is 70% Black, and 1 in 3 people do live there in poverty. Well, now there's a proposed rail spur. It's going to connect a local rock quarry to the main line. This will allow the gravel company to vastly expand mining that already causes dust, it already causes debris, and it already causes noise pollution. So of course the residents don't want it there. They also don't want it there because it's going to take their land, Not only is this an environmental issue for these families, it is yet another assault on Black generational wealth. We've seen it 1,000 times, taking Black land, taking Black businesses, for any reason, and leaving African Americans with nothing. It happens generation after generation after generation, and everybody's so surprised when African Americans don't have any real generational wealth. These are Black families who own their land in Sparta, Georgia. And trust me, if they take it and they give them anything for it, it won't be enough to replace that house, because that's just not how they do it, because if they did, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now. Data from the 2019 Survey of Consumer Finance, here's what it shows. The average African American family had a median net worth of $24,100 compared to $189,000, that's right, in the average white family. Come on now. All right, like anyone, African Americans gain wealth as their income rises, but you should know this, the wealth gap between the African American and the white American with similar income, the gap actually grows. So as they get more and as we get more, the gap grows, which means we're not getting more fast enough and we're not able to keep it, all right? African Americans in the 75th percentile of the income distribution, folks, the 75th percentile, have a median net worth of $114,000 compared to $573,000 for white Americans. So we got to try to stop that rail line in Sparta, and if that rail line goes through, they got to get what they need for those houses so that they can pass a new house, which we know the prices are skyrocketed, a new house onto those family members. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Stay with me for the news. Welcome to Impact News. I am Carol Angela Davis. Folks, we're going to start in Mississippi, folks. That's where the GOP has weaponized race yet again. Now the GOP-led Senate rejecting a prominent Black educator for education superintendent. Now his name is Robert P. Taylor. He was nominated by Mississippi's Board of Education. That happened in November. Taylor would have been Mississippi's second Black state superintendent in state history. Apparently, in the past, senators have always confirmed previous nominees for state superintendent. Meanwhile, more shenanigans in Mississippi, where Republicans there are looking to make Jackson a police state. We've told you a little bit about this before. We have more. The Mississippi Republican-led majority white legislature, that's right, folks, they are passing a bill that expands the territory of the state-run police department. Now, with this new bill, the state Capitol Police are also going to be allowed to patrol the city of Jackson. This bill also creates a new court system with judges that are appointed rather than elected, folks, and the appointments will be handled by all white state officials. You just can't stop Mississippi. All right, then the cannabis, actually we can. All right, the cannabis industry is on track to generate $40 billion in revenue by 2026, but Black entrepreneurs just cannot get a foothold. Folks, you should know Black people own just 1.2 to 1.7% of cannabis businesses, but cannabis is still illegal at the federal level. That means they can't get loans or grants to expand those businesses. This means everyone has to fund their own business, folks, and that's very difficult because the venture capital money, thanks to systemic racism, we know the venture capital money just doesn't flow to Black business owners. They traditionally receive less than 2% of venture capital funds. Black families, as a result of the systemic racism that is also rearing its ugly head in the cannabis industry, as a result, Blacks have only 10% of the median net worth of whites. Meanwhile, black people in the U.S. are 3.6 times more likely to face arrest in relation to marijuana, and that information comes from the ACLU. All right, moving on and looking at news reported in the hip-hop industry, folks. The Metropolitan African American Episcopal Church there in Washington, D.C., it's suing the alt-right group, the Proud Boys. Go get them, dudes, okay? Suing them for $22 million. The Proud Boys, you know them, of course. They stormed the Capitol on January 6th, and you'll remember they tore down that Black Lives Matter flag in D.C. In December of 2020. Well, it was during a rally. Well, the Reverend William Lamar told the judge, and I quote, "We have an opportunity to be clear that this is unacceptable. All right, it is illegal and it cannot continue. They want to destroy lives. They want to destroy hope. They want to erase history, and we will not let that happen." That's right, folks, okay? All right, the alt-right group, the Proud Boys, they failed to appear at a hearing on the matter. Well, we can understand that because they know how this is about to go down. All right, then a California police union director in Los Angeles, she's under arrest on charges of fentanyl. Yes, trafficking. Oh, my goodness. 64-year-old Joanne Marion Segovia, she's the executive director of the San Jose Officers Association. Well, the Department of Justice says at least 61 shipments were mailed to her home from places including India, Hungary, and Hong Kong, folks. Deaths involving synthetic opioids are on the rise. They reached 70,600 overdose deaths. That was reported in 2021. Well, as for Segovia, she faces a maximum statutory sentence of 20 years in prison, and she's 64. Oof. All right, moving on, more news reported in the hip-hop community. Shout out to Black China, folks, for removing her breast, butt, and facial fillers. She's now going by her real name. Her name is Angela Renee White. The 34-year-old has vowed that she is done with undergoing cosmetic enhancements. And we take our hat off to her. She's a great example for our young girls who can now see that all that glitters is certainly not gold. She had to get rid of that mess because she's trying to survive. So shout out to you, Angela White. All right, now let's go because we are going to talk about the climate, folks, because we are halfway to a tipping point that if it is hit, it's going to trigger 6 feet of sea level rise from the melting Greenland ice sheet. That's right, 6 feet, not inches, feet. All right, once people have cumulatively emitted about 1,000 gigatons of carbon in total, then the southern part of the Greenland ice sheet will melt, even if we stop emitting carbon entirely. Okay, it's like a runaway train, eventually causing the sea level to rise by almost 6 feet. Yes. And right now we are at approximately 500 gigatons of carbon emissions released. We have to cut back quickly. All right, now this is going on as oceans reach their hottest temperature on record, folks. The oceans have been record warming for the past 4 years. We've been telling you about that. And here comes El Nino, which is another problem because El Nino is a natural phenomenon in the tropical Pacific Ocean that brings warmer than average temperatures, okay? So here's what it could mean for the climate. 6 things. First of all, it could push the world past 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming above the pre-industrial levels of the mid to late 1800s. That's a huge problem. And you should know that we're already at 1.2, so we don't have far to go. All right, 2, there could be more drought-busting rain in the west, which we need more rain, but too much rain causes those mudslides. So let's hope that's kind of moderated. 3, in other parts of the world, El Nino could amplify droughts, fierce heat waves, and dangerous wildfires. Number 4, it could fuel stronger cyclones in the warmer Pacific Ocean. Number 5, coral reefs could see catastrophic bleaching. And number 6, there could be more Antarctic ice melt, which of course could go on a steep downward trend, which is another runaway train. Scientists are watching Antarctica closely, of course, because it holds enough water to raise global sea level by 230 feet. Yikes. We're all going down on that one. Okay. Then the United States and Canada have a new plan to limit the entry of Caribbean and other asylum seekers at their borders, folks. One advocacy organization representing over 200 immigrant and refugee rights groups throughout New York is denouncing the decision as cruel. The plan means Canada will allow an additional 15,000 migrants on a humanitarian basis from the Western Hemisphere over the course of the year. Now, Haitians and Cubans have been among the refugees seeking to enter the United States through its southern borders. This is not good. We've got to figure something out to help people, particularly the Haitians. The French ought to be shamed. We've talked about that. All right. Then let's go to the World Bank. It is concerned about China's loans to Africa. This is very interesting, folks. Right now, Ghana and Zambia, they are struggling to repay their debts to Beijing. It is one of the reasons why Vice President Kamala Harris visited Tanzania, Zambia, and Ghana. Remember that Africa has an abundance of natural resources. That's what they're after, including nickel, which is crucial for those electric car batteries. The U.S. is also concerned about Africa offering collateral when it makes a loan, because it locks the collateral up for generations, and that's not good either. That's been happening with China. Beijing has become one of the biggest sources of loans for developing countries in recent years, and you should know that globally, China has lent $185 billion, folks, in bailouts to 22 countries between 2016 and 2021. China says it is not true that it is exploiting other countries with its financial support. Well, let me tell you, no matter what, whether it's true or not, you can't take all your money from one source, that's for sure, because you know somebody's going to have you hamstrung. Those are your stories. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Stay with me for more Ask Dr. K, the financial news, the international report missing, and the slay word. Stay with me. It is time, folks. It's that time for you to level up your vocab. We've got a word for you this week, and the word is torpid. T-O-R-P-I-D, torpid. That word is an adjective, which means it's going to describe that noun. And it originated in the 15th century, folks. Okay, the definition of torpid is mentally or physically inactive, lethargic, apathetic, dull. That applies to a lot of things. Let's use it in a sentence, okay? Do you think Donald Trump and his family will ever get to a torpid state and shut their mouths? I don't think so. All right, number 2, the animal need not lie around in a torpid state, vulnerable to attack. Torpid, that's your slay word of the week. It means mentally or physically inactive, lethargic, apathetic, dull. Stay with me.
Anyone who thinks that slavery ended in the 1860s with the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation are grievously wrong.
If we caught a bird, we ate through the feathers and ate the bird. We didn't have nothing to cook on. We didn't have no stove. You know who you are and who we are.
We're still on that big plantation.
She was bonded to them until they died. She was their slave.
They said, bro, we're going to be killed tonight.
Could that same white dude keep terrorists there? Or Russian spies, or the KGB, and the government wouldn't know it? No.
They thought I was beat so bad that I couldn't do nothing, but I did.
Are you? We're out there looking for our African American girls, and with the help of our community, we're going to find them. Have you seen 15-year-old Anaya Gayton? She's been missing since February this year from Dallas, Texas. That's Anaya Gayton. She's 15 years old. She's been missing since February of this year from Dallas, Texas. Anyone having any information, please contact McKinney Police Department, and their phone number is 972-547-2700. Where are you? We're out there looking for you, and with the help of everyone out there in the community, we know we can find you. Well, thanks for staying with us. Here is your international report. Edie, I understand you have news of the things going on in Haiti.
Yes, Carol, you know, as somebody that's half West Indian, my mother was from the Caribbean, I retain a great interest in what happens, and especially in Haiti, because Haiti was one of the first countries to overthrow slavery and become an independent nation, and for that it was forever punished by the French. And now, as you know, because I've been reporting on the fact that there is no governance in that island, after they assassinated Moïse, they have some caretaker kind of government, and all the institutions have broken down. So This article caught my eye, modern weapons being smuggled to Haiti from the United States. And I thought, this gun problem in this country has to be taken hold of. So increasingly sophisticated weapons are being trafficked into Haiti, as reported by the Drug Control Office in Vienna, the UN Drugs and Crime Office. And popular handguns selling for $400 to $500 at federally licensed armed dealers and outlets are ending up in the US, are ending up being resold for as much as $10,000 in Haiti.
That's terrible.
$10,000. Higher powered rifles such as the AK-47s, the AR-15s, and Galilees are being typically in higher demand by the gang. So can you imagine that kind of weaponry on this island, killing people?
With no governance.
No governance. And so the weapons are usually procured by a middleman, and then they're shipped into private air bases, air strips, and they get into the country that way, and through other middlemen, they get to the gangs. And the trouble is, when Moise said, I'm getting rid of these airstrips, well, they assassinated him. That was one of the precursors for killing him.
It's really sad. But the thing is, it takes intelligence to understand how to deal with the guns. And unfortunately, there's a lack of that going on here in the United States, because they can't figure out that the guns shouldn't be this prevalent. It's a very, very sad situation when we owe apologies to Haiti for making these guns available. It's very unfortunate.
No, it really is, because now they're saying the level of violence that, there was 1,615 in 2021 people killed to 2,183 in 2022. And this may not sound like huge numbers, but when you think of the population size,
yeah,
it is.
And you have to live there with no police force, no governance, no nothing. It's a really sad situation, and we hope the U.S. will turn itself around and do its part. Thank you so much for that information on Haiti. We thank you for staying with us, and keep staying with us. We'll be right back with more. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ingang Ebong-Haustrup. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carol.
Well, welcome to this week's financial news, which of course we know we have to know what's going on with the money. Folks, did you know you can now do layaway at Apple? Yes, it's paying on time. You can do that at Apple, and you access this feature through your Apple wallet. It allows you to take out loans of $50 to $1,000, okay? And you can apply those to app purchases and online purchases with any merchant that, of course, accepts Apple Pay. Apple says there will be a soft credit pull to determine if you are in good financial standing. So that's good news to know. Also, there's good news in the auto industry over there for General Motors, where U.S. sales are up a whopping 18% in the first quarter of the year to just over 600,000 vehicles delivered. Sales of the Chevrolet Silverado and the GMC Sierra full-size pickups, they're up a combined 9% from a year ago. Not bad. GM saying it expects to sell, are you ready for this? 50,000 electric vehicles in the first half of 2023, and it expects to double that in the second half of the year. GM also increasing production of its BrightDrop Zevo 600 electric delivery van. It says truck rental giant Ryder System has already agreed to buy 4,000 of the vans between now and 2025. GM also says its Chevrolet Trax and Trailblazer and Buick Encore crossovers, they're going to be arriving at dealers over the next several months. All three will have starting prices below $30,000, so get ready. And then finally, let's take a look at the electric cars over there at Rivian. It says it is on track to build 50,000 electric vehicles in 2023. Rivian saying it's built about 9,400 EVs already, that in the first quarter of the year, and it has delivered just under 8,000 vehicles to customers. Now, the company is building the R1T pickup, R1S SUV, and a series of electric delivery vans for Amazon, those being built at its factory in Normal, Illinois. Stay with me.
I'm just sick and tired of us not spending time together lately.
I know, baby. I know. I'm sorry I haven't spent time with you. I've been working on this big deal. It's gonna bring a lot more money to the household for her.
What you doing here, boss? Yeah, just checking to see if you still got it.
You take this work. Your partner. I don't want it back. I've seen the movies, man. I know how this goes. You see the movie, huh? What you see? Goodfellas, New Jack City. Everything I do is for you. Like, I just need a little bit more time, man. Fine bullshit. Like I said, he's gonna call any second.
Why don't you take a look at this video? Guess what? It's starring you.
We're closing out the show with you as we always do, talking about your health. Welcome, Dr. K.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I want to continue our discussion on colon health. And we've talked about meat, we've talked about processed foods, we've talked about dairy, but there's one overarching theme to all of this, and that is the African-centered alkaline diet. Now, many of you have probably heard of Dr. Sebi and other practitioners of his philosophy, and it talks about the fact that when we eat alkaline-based foods, we are really doing what's good for the body. It's anti-inflammatory, and it promotes, again, the right kind of bacteria to keep us healthy. So the alkaline diet, if you look it up, they'll talk about a lot of celebrities that are involved in it and different things, but I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one from Dr. Sebi that discusses people of African descent, and it takes out a lot of things that we eat that are actually hybrid vegetables. Example, broccoli. Broccoli is a hybrid, but we're talking about things like greens, kale, the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts, the seeds. I'm talking about drinking water, and a lot of it every day. And this is promoting an alkaline environment in our body, which is the best way for us to increase our health and longevity. When we eat acidic fruits such as lemons or oranges, when they come into the body, they are metabolized as alkaline foods. So it's fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, and therefore it's not dairy, which is acidic, it's not meat, which is acidic, and it's not the middle aisle, because the chemicals and everything produce an acidic environment. Inside of our body, an acidic environment is actually an inflammatory environment. So it's going to promote disease. It's going to promote diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, etc. So I want everybody to look up Dr. Sebi or African-based alkaline diet. There's a whole list of foods. We season those foods with alkaline-based herbs because they provide the cleansing, drinking water, and this is essential to our health and longevity.
Drinking that water. I mean, we always think it's important, but I mean, I didn't know it was that important in terms of alkaline versus acidic.
Very, very important. And again,
the 64 ounces, Dr. K, is that enough?
Some people have so many different things. They say take half of your body weight, drink that number of ounces, drink 64 ounces. I would say drink as much as you can. You know, probably 64 ounces is a minimum, because, you know, different people have different situations where maybe you can't drink as much water as you want to. But the main thing is avoiding the sodas, juices. Just let water be your drink.
Wow.
Your body's 70% water. So you've got to give the body what it needs. So trying to make it into a certain amount can put pressure on people. It's difficult for people, and always making people think, oh my God, it's not good enough. But whatever you can do is good enough, because it's going to promote your longevity, and avoiding the juices and the sodas and things like that is what gets us in more trouble. So the main thing is your beverage is water.
That's it.
And that's the most important thing.
Wow. Very, very, very important. Thank you so much, Doc. I'm so glad she's here. And thank you for staying with us. Now you're listening, so you're getting healthier. I'm Carol Angela Davis. Thank you, Dr. K.
Thank you so much, and have a great day.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week with more important information on Impact News. From all of us here at Impact News, we wish you a wonderful week. See you next week.